Yamambu nyina adwuma makwaba eba United Television so yada mu nyina asesa mu mafide natoa no nsia aba pansema edunum yakasa boy saka fi omanmu ene amahodo so osemufo aso ne so de amaye no ana dohwe bako eda ne mu me ejakwabna me ne
akuya ajiwa akodi
yade bremu ye kam saboafo e this way chocolate drink and the coffee drink sanso and special sinsuo and special drink nso bo ichi don pa ni fufu ni tabekwan enyayemu sanso na nyimeku ahodo nso ka ho a wo mo aboa yen na de edi mu akoti ne bi ni se mampena da mahama kire se na nanum ahemfo ayeyi wo mo ato ajeje mu ewo manyi enkanko ni mpuntuo mu no wo ba obesa mo wadi odi bredio
obenfo akwasi prempe ekire mu se emfiempim bienu ni aduonu nan bato no yema emu na ho fan
abato kuro ya na America ban na musini o Ghana hada to ekire mu se America for to aba afia Ghana for so to aba afia nti amamienu yi enhwesa sondwe betumi aba
na Ghana Environment Manifesto nimpenifo adan wadi ade bema amanyofo so mo fanye adwuma wo ebre beto aba mo ataye ho nsamiti
na nsan adwumadi ekoso eye All African Games yi dom kuma chese bibi nkshadan koyie enti yente bedwoko ne yemu hwehwemu enhwese sika dodo edi wura mu no esa nete ampa na esansa ye kasai wo matu omhoma ye volunteers akese atu omoka eno se omunchi omoka omune empanyifo ede abo ani
National Labour Commission de acho achechefo ko miensa ma che atwere ni so mo fanto no mo kodem ko kirade mra ne enkasa maso bi
ensemi ka wenum ho na ye de brem se kase bo afi kase bo ne mu nsam nie Ghana kanema pani His Excellency John Dramani Mahama endi sama yoku no se 2 franc ade ama omo presa Ghana fo beto abama no amana se be man pani bio no eguna pro boso na bro kusha na nam ahemfo ni panifo bi no de to dwa kire mu se kame se esan kama mi kabine amanyosem ti nanano tumi wo nyina no ya gini na de afi wo musam nti nananom nam ho mpan awom ni tumi bi tumi de adwuma nano ebibia ha nananom ye pa na wahye ombo se osambe man pani a sa tumi na nananom wo no ye besan dane dama omu bio se na be betumi aboa ama tumi na nananom wo ene de aban wo no ye tumi da kyekere oman no
Enkane Ghana mampanyini John Dramani Mahama ebo apro ewo ma Ghana mu no panyina probum no ahemfo dodo na no ena won ha wode ato nanim se kame akwa ese na ahemfo yemfo monyeta na ye de ahyense ase ginansi ahodo ye yi o mafirimu enti eno ani ye din adeda won so sa ahemfo eno ne nam ho no mo sa amfa so bia se bimpredwasa eni won so wakosem odi to dwase
our own institution, that is the chieftaincy institution, has suffered a great deal. Now, the assemblyman is even more important than his paramount chief. Very soon, appointments to assemblies, especially I'm talking about the government appointees, where 30% of the appointees must be from traditional rulers and opinion leaders. I have listened to other colleagues, not only in this jurisdiction, but elsewhere, and they complain bitterly about this. I wouldn't want you to be seen as interfering in the local government administration, but the office of the president can handle that when it's through the Ministry of Local Government.
Yebesama obi kura wa himfie otimi kyerɛ manim ka kyerɛ sɛ yɛmfa men kokot na kan ne ntimi nkansa nti sɛ yewura so osamba bi mu no yɛkɔ National House of Chiefs na yɛka ɛne on samfa yɛtumi no mai onfa yɛtumi no mai
ya hemfo a yɛwɔ Ghana ni yɛmpotem ha nyina no ɛsɛ aben bia bɛba no na atuyan ahemfo ato nkyɛn se ya hyiamu ndei de yebehu se ya ahemfo after election no na ahemfo de na kyerɛ sɛ yɛni baabi agina sembe be so kura sa osi person ko hunu president kura protocol no kura wuntimi kura emben ho ma won koka wo hi asem timi srɛ sɛ yewura oba tiwani hwɛ
ahemfo akosam yi na America Ghana mampanyini John Dramani Mahama abo ma no ho ba sese bro no mpatem na se kurubi mpuntuo ho nsem betima konkan ahemfo ye yi omumu a enye yie enti na ban ye besa ba bi no behwe hunu se assembly bia mu na ahemfo so benya na musini wo ho na bagina isie bia won so timi do won ho ahyemu bi.
One of the things that concern our traditional rulers is local governance, and they feel that they've been excluded from local governance. But I do believe that if the chiefs had a greater role, it will make our local governance even more effective than it currently is. And so one of the suggestions that was in our 2020 manifesto, and we shall repeat in this manifesto, is that the chiefs will be given the authority to appoint their representatives, a certain percentage. You know that we have appointed members of the district assemblies, and so a certain percentage of the appointed members would be appointed by the chiefs so that they have their representatives on the assemblies and can use their representatives to contribute to whatever is happening in the district assemblies.
Ghana Churchefo ko beye miensa meche Nat Nagrat na CCT Ghana fo echiremu eseniema bi amope fra ban wono abano nye nuti no mo ewo atuate mu enne omoni National Labour Commission akwakosi nkunwa ameyedo oto omonim so mo enkonko kira de na omomra ne obheye hwe nwumesua so ntrasen kasa nyame ya adoma wo kina march de to so aduonu so
ene etisafo akuro ahodo minsa Asia yeba National Labour Commission mpanimfo wa National Labour Commission ebua asem wa ededa to wo manim no omo se yene etisafo no nsi nkonwa biem na ne a eha omo bia yenhwe ne yenka na sonwie emra omo nso aka kire omo se animu ya nsan ebesia no the Bruni friends strike no omuma emra awieye na awofoi enya asomdwe no mfomuma enko school na ochenya meboa Ministry of Labour and Employment Relations for conference room no mienu pepepe na yenyina ene etichafo koi ahia ayesi nkonwa ni ape humasibre na de asomdwe aba
munyina munim se beye na watwini a yede nku kaka gu ho se eya de ebeye adwuma nti ne ba Labour Commission na nsem a yegina asunti a yetu etua no ene ebeka ho asem ye ba ye no emu miensa de yetumi esi hu ginabre ewo Labour Commission he ya edika ne laptop no ye nyina agi atum se bosumi dwu beko na wie ye no Ghana Education Service enhwe se ọchẹchẹ ni bia ni sankan laptop no ni sabeka de atosu mienu so no achẹchẹfo na special prosecutor de tabo ato omo sikaso no Ghana Education Service enhwe se ni nyina so be free ho na afia so scheme of service Ghana Education ni bi no Labour Commission ahye se 8 April Ghana Education Service enfa draft scheme of service no emma achẹchẹfo kuru ne yenhwem na yensanfa mo se na bia omo council so betumi apase akani omensia a yentumi anka ho asem awie e wo Labour Commission de edikai continuous professional development allowance de atoso deprived area allowance de atoso biem rent allowance de atoso biem transport or commuting allowance ni nyina nsia no Labour Commission ahye se ochina no mienu e Ministry of Employment conference room no yenkotenase na yenhya ase enka ho ase Labour Commission esa hye biomu se ye etua na yate no ye fambra na wieye na yenkosi nkonwa na yenka nsam na enu nti yetu etua no na eno no de eka won ne se yentu embu Labour Commission enimtia na emomu no ye unions no ye was structure say a friend council na ye di take a decision sheet any a procedures nyina nti Labour Commission akan yate unions ye be go through your procedure na decision ye be take bia no ye be mamu nyina amaso ate.
I believing that they will do their things according to what they have discussed, and I believe that at the end of it all they are going to deliver as they have discussed. We are hoping for the best.
I hope that tomorrow that they are going to negotiate, they should come out with a good plan, the one that we are expecting to be tabled. That is what we are expecting tomorrow. Not our allowances. Our allowances is what we expect to talk about.
Teacher for we be a due salary and so young.
Politicians are taught by teachers. If we taught them and they become big men today and they are maltreating us, we will not sit down for them to use that as a rag.
Yɛtosa na yɛkɔ dwumadie bi a CDD4 ye emu na dwumadie omu ye na ni nyina for man yempuntu ene se de sikasɛm so tie ne IMF a yɛde ɛho asan kokɔ hye ase bi wi na ne kasa emu no ɛna obinfo a wabin ye post kasɛm tutue mu na wɔkyerɛ de ɛwɔ Legon Professor Godfred Alufa Bokwin ɛde to dwa kyerɛ mu sɛ IMF a yɛsɔre ahirire ne yɛdi mreka kɔ ni nyina no so man Ghana yɛborobosia dodo ɛyɛ na ɛka na mmene yɛ bibia nyeye ɛno ka ho bi enti na amasi sa IMF ɛhɔ na kwada no bebi a yɛsɔre a ne yakɔ akɔda na no no ɔkyɛ sɛ so man no betumi akɔ n'anim a na si yɛ nyina sɛ yɛka bom ansa no man no puntu atumi agyina.
When Ghana Tax Justice Coalition in pain for the so ase no na e for my Ghana ye bobra wom sese sabre ye de ensa akoto IMF for aduane emui yumede ase no na Dr. Richmond Ata Ankoma Institute of Statistical Social and Economic Research University of Ghana workers e chire mu say Ghana bitima nyamfa so pa e de free IMF ku no enchen si enia brese wo man na sika bi e beje de free IMF ku no enchen no ye behwe hunu se botayi ekwaji ye na de be ye dia ene ka kwa bi so no Ghana IMF bosia be nshira edi amayen
ye pekwanya Ghana ene amaya fofra musika sem wo form no mo betime mo sabetime aka sika ehun nsi hu no e wo form kakra na emre wo hu so ehun dawo kakra mo betime ja hihye mo man ni nema eka enkoso se de ye hu no nansan Ghana ha ne bebre mu baby bebre omoka enkoso pa eka ye de nkrofo a omunyati mamufo wasi etwa hu nsi hu pe hu do so pa enti ye hwehwem na na ye hu se ye de ani kire IMF abebo ye kakra we kasa mu Ghana de ni IMF ana yeda ya call be 17 times ni de be ka jira ne se aban no hwe de we a omo sika sem no ye disika no hwe so ye nti de be ka jira aban nyina ne se enti mi ka se ma aban mo on spending obe spend but spending na I was say wo hwe ni ye no hu se bibi was spending na bia so faso beba.
Professor Godfred Bokwin opinion chechere for University of Ghana Legon onso di tuja so man no ebetumi akoyi anya bako fasede nti Ghana nyina ne nsori waka na yemboa
me hu ne se omen ye pese oman ye ya ejina yen ya so enjina IMF so enjina World Bank so enjina obia so ejina yen ya so se yen ya ka se ye ne ya ebetumi aye ne ye say we are going to deal with corruption. We are putting Ghana first, Ghana ahead of self and political party interest. That this country can make it because there's so much God has given us, and there's so much that if we want to manage prudently with a common good in mind, we should be able to do it well.
Atnaye ya de bia ho senka no ye senka na enu entino amanyofo no so mutimi de mre sefata etoto won mo ebeboa atraye eho ban enu entina ekueku awodo enhye aban ase a de di animu no ye arocha Ghana for adadwumedie bia aduomato ne dini se Ghana Environment Manifesto ewo enkranya ye de ma amanyofo no so mufanye adwumebre beto abade amomo ne ye mo environment ne ho ban.
Ghana Environment Manifesto we ensese mpinufo pa ho ntoma na wo faso na wo de abode wuru e de afa hunidi hu nsem so kwampa e be faso na efi ebitimotu ase na Ghana ya de ho e de afirifi ho na abo asetena mpinufo ka bi wom ne ekodudo na no e na wode wode monyam kokopie mu e wodwumedie ase Dr. Kodwosia Mensa Brampa ani mpinufo dodo na de wode monyam be pie mu wodwumedie ase no UTV Kasiapo ye ne bi ekasai.
Whatever party that you're talking about, pick their manifesto and pick the national plan, and you see that about 80% of it lies in the national plan. The rest is the details, how we manage this process. Almost every manifesto that you pick will say that we're going to do this about the environment. All of them. And we've done the real study. The real deviation is about 20%. 80% there's agreement. And that's what you find in our national plan. But the challenge is, how do we bring this to fruition, that we are catering for an environment that will be sustainable? That is for us the key thing. What are the policies that are coming out of that? And are the policies embedded in facts, in objective analysis? And that is where for those of us in civil society, it is key. How do we place and embed and really predicate the policies on facts?
Political party bia ne nia brese or pese ye environment no ne ko ho obehwe yensu ho bambo ne ade no obetimi afa sa documents we na wafa munyoma no de aye adwuma ta wonti ase kwa na ye wo ho yensu ade ade esi eni ye de atu aso ebe ni se ye outdoor manifesto we no ye be political parties no so all of them you be visit you be kwakosra mu ene o matena ase ene o maka ho nsem de o monti ase no mo ya te ase na ya mo ate ase ye wie a na ya hwese ne o mo dis political issues na ye raise no e be ye adwuma ye wie no ye mani si he ya ye pese even during the campaign manifesto no church no mo release ya ye be fa manifesto document na ya hwemu bisa ye ho se a political party no all dream yenso hu bambo ne your forest ne your brabo hu yedi hwe party e na the normal na o se obeye abo yen asitini mu no manifesto normal ne enim normal e fa galamse hu enim a normal e fa se dia yensuo yese no se dia nkofo mo ko epo ye omo yese sa normal nia so man fa sa normal nia na ejuma hu se we sa party e je se oba omwayen sa party omwa mayan to ma sa parties no inti yemfa political parties ni nia omo manifesto ebeba ne yemfa the issues of environment ne yemfa to sa no se nya papa ense ni we a and sa party no mayan to ma no
afi oman Ghana ye to aba sanso na America man no so eto aba ne santi dwumade bia koso CDD4 na ehihye ama America ban na musini Ghana mamu ha eye her excellency Virginia Evelyn Palmer akwaka so dwumade na se no kire se ho behia sa ma mienu yi se eri kamanka bia se yeboso se no na de be ye adwuma no ye hwe kwase ye ne ye be ye nyina fi abato obere no ene abato na wie ye no ebe kire se ampa ye jikamanka bi etumu ampa
Wonshemu CDD Ghana and the Council for Foreign Relations Ghana this is so ase no and opinion we see America man na mu o ma Ghana mu Her Excellency Virginia Palmer e dia tudwa sa fi America and Ghana yenyina no ye kwa abatu anim na na mo be betu na be se ka bemka bidie obesere se yenyina kwa na dwumadi o de hye sui na edin da so and the democracy decline in West Africa.
Recent years, some parts of West Africa have witnessed a distressing decline in democratic norms and a weakening of democratic institutions. This has been characterized by a resurgence of authoritarian regimes, a rise in violent extremism, pervasive corruption, alarming human rights abuses, discrimination against minorities, restrictions on press freedom and free speech, and a failure to share economic prosperity equitably. These factors not only undermine the fabric of democracy, but also erode trust in the very institutions meant to safeguard it and protect human rights. As we look ahead to the upcoming presidential elections in both the United States and Ghana, we must reaffirm our commitment to the principles that underpin a democratic society. Democracy can triumph over adversity through the promotion of shared economic prosperity, the conduct of free and fair elections, the inclusion of minority in public policy debates, and the maintenance of well-trained security forces that can counter violent extremists while protecting human rights. My team at the U.S. Embassy is working with journalists, civil society organizations, government officials, local communities, underrepresented groups, and civil society organizations like the ones who've organized this forum to support free and fair elections in Ghana that truly deliver for their people. Because free and fair elections here and in the United States will continue to be a sign to the rest of the world that democracy is alive and well.
Openyini sadi tudwa biem se kwampa betima fa so na yesika ho nsem agina brane na o ma na tumpon we ne se ka bam ka bi ye besomu yie.
Building a strong, inclusive economy is also important to supporting our democratic principles. And through multi-year implementation of something called the Strategy to Prevent Conflict and Promote Stability, the United States is working to do that in coastal West Africa. And we focused efforts in Ghana on inclusive economic growth and projection of state services into Ghana's much poorer north, and to the protection and inclusion of vulnerable populations on Ghana's border.
Yejina we say so ahumi abaye baye beto akasa.
Ewi ade semama yeda mo asese wunya bretwan afi ye kase bo no yeto aso.
Na National Food Suppliers Association eko ni mano edinkrata aba bonten omo enso omo eka nyada ne se omo edinkrata eto apete amanako asoye ehwe ehumasuan so Ghana sentwenwumaku awodo ne nche ne Ghana fo nyada wo se sesi amika sei nyankopon eya adomo a ombekwa akobodo ntwa ewo asoye ehwe ehumasuan so fise ne fo maako edu enanie sika sempenifo etua momonomu entuaye omo eso message na ye we fise eniema enkoye na eniema munsu na wono mo fan ebra ye chesikade ama wono omo di nuane eco schools ahodo animu omo eto aso omo nsem nimu se National Food Buffer Stock Company for no efiti February de to so February bosumi no wo afrase ni mbepim samre no aban emo mo kaprekura wana yahwe bibi kakra de amomo no eye wo mo a Ghana Commodity Exchange no mo hyase a asue hwe ngmasua so hwe omo no ene ye mo musika omo de seja wo hene bande ne papa te ase enti no omo de ye mo musika ne bi no omo maka ne de ye fi ye ni kura edidija ne mura ne nam eno enti no omo aretu Ghana fo nyina danim se omo esa kwa akotena wo no mu ebiem na omo adwo musika de fra ba no nche sade a ekombedi Ghana adesuafo no penyina ne nsa hyenkrata yase kasamafo ewo kon moru akwaku amedumi na omuto aso biem akire mu se omo kan nsem wenyina ne mpenifo antie di a ene ente ombetu omo hofo pa
Tamari fan renya bedwaku foforo mbehwe aboase de beya ombetumi atoto niema ama to wasangira ne nanso bio na eno ene dai ononyamfo Matthew opoku prempe adona frena napo akwakotwa homamu na so okoda bedwaku na di so mo hwe dwumedi ase.
One of the issues that have beset TOR in the past few years is that of a healthy working environment. And I must therefore say, especially in an election year, management and staff must have mutual respect for each other, where each voice, whether in the boardroom or on the shop floor, matters. And it's the only way the company can grow. The acrimony, mistrust, accusations, and counter-accusations are very unhealthy and must stop. And I ask you to make it a top priority in discharging your mandate. I further charge you to use your good office as TOR board to champion the drive to bring in new strategic partner or partners to help make the company viable and responsive to the challenges and opportunities of our time. There is enough demand in the country for what TOR's core mandate stands for. And I urge you to see all new entrants in your core area as collaborators in the market and not pure as competitors.
It is important to recognize that the refinery has not been able to refine crude, its core business, since March 2021. Due to breakdown of its relationship with its tolling partner, but not because of its inability to perform. The reality is that any state-owned enterprise with continuous negative cash flow is a drain on the economy. And our prime objective must therefore be to reverse this trend. Our task is clearly an onerous one. It is clear that the government of Ghana lacks both the appetite or indeed the capacity to solve all the financial problems of Tema Refinery. It is therefore incumbent on the board to go to the market. And to do that successfully, we will have to engage the Honourable Minister and his team throughout the process. We take this opportunity to assure the Honourable Minister of our full commitment to handle matters of the refinery diligently, and all efforts will therefore be made to take the requisite steps to get the refinery fully operational, and we look forward to the full collaboration of our Honourable Sector Minister and his team in meeting this challenge.
CDD di Ghana kono penyina wada no eye obemfo akwesi prempe na wade atudwa achem se afi December de tosonso abaye beto no abato komisa ene abedwafo nyina danhwe se emu beda wa no mo fan na aboama asumdwe bambo ene nkurumdi akọ ede amane wasefata.
Center for Democratic Development Ghana and the Council of Foreign Relations Ghana and the Dinshemu Sronkwashe na Bamwana Musifo Penfo Kabi Womani Kodo na no and what when Yanko PM was Sibo to Adrian Kwam Power Faso was Sunday Hunsemo Bibrim, Ebefan and Tomapa Ediefra. Quancha for the CDD Ghana no. Professor Henry Kwesi Prempe, Nekasemina Wuchim said, Ne Yanka Bibrim, about to go say Koswa and say Koswa into a besere, Sabat to be a Bessimo Bibrim, whom will find Pepeyo and Fan and Tomapa friend will be sudden try one gentum, name one kabima kabinia sumdwe yembo ho ban
enye ku nkoa enye omanya omampani no why na dwese on onkoda eno de ne the extreme but a try bia ansa obedu sa point no democracy no say begua engu amunamuno gradual obehu nipakoro no ansa oyi leader no be bibi sa no o test small testation be a media say be close to be media be three amount for be can say yan ka hwe no asan context one some cheap party we ni patuma e be sa antino democracy na nye say egu amramu say ya eku etwa bia wo democracy na mu na esot na quality no sot nti enu ni na na de abom ena ye ka say Africa has gone through a period of profound democratic recession. There's a democracy now no gradually in many countries and sakra say beguno. We who say even Ghana crap on and saying steady saya ye no. Ye who say ye de no eswati ye to aba. Na ni olusu no ojitum say olusu failure. If enfanta kwanta ko bia enfa mani e bia ma. Eno ani ye be na yin say ye stable peace. Say ye to aba na obi who say ye transparent ye clean we ne winning we ne lose ya and one ye hwehwe into the main thing in Ghana to preserve our democracy no is free and fair elections say abana ye beto no obi a eti ne ho ase amanfo ne party for not eti on ho ase say we ne winning ya o winning o parliamentary o winning presidential ne kwan no as long as ye clean no you be winning be in democracy no and predict say one nipa winner so winner say nipa winner so winning a process in the matter in democracy no process and ye share into see a fact kwan paso near the two obi free so and as ye the obi siswa and one share
yakwa mrashebedwemu domko mrashebedwemu ayesenchofo nhyiamu na penia wakasa ye onunyanfo kwabena mensa woyome wo kire se nansan ye na wotwe atwam ya wiye ya All African Games ayeye o ma Ghana mu de toso edumiensa no ya egu ye ho ani ase adan a osisi katwitwire die pai de wuram no nyasam ketwa na de okan ye ni wo se wo hwe de ye de toso du ba ko de toso dumienu no a oman a ye Congo at the $600 million and a year nimienu nyina na ukokohwe se de CCC sports complex how Congo anya sankotwa na so Ghana de ye the 46 million euros and ye se de aye na so iboteman ene legon ya sankoye ye bako bi to nchen a bi pepe bia ni wa ye nte wo behia se ne manimu ya na ye tebadwako bi ye hwehwemu afa sika ye di wura sa All African Games yi.
It is important to give a brief breakdown of the various budgeted allocations for the African Games. Parliament approved a total of 150 million Ghana cedis in the 2024 budget for LOC for appropriation this year, made up of 100 million Ghana cedis for goods and services and 50 million Ghana cedis for capex. In addition to this, an amount of $48 million, which is equivalent to about 600 million Ghana cedis, which is equivalent to about 600 million, was allocated to the LOC for operational expenses. Put together, The LOC alone received about 750 million Ghana cedis for its operation. Where is the money? Egade, where is the Sika? Sika no wine. We must also take note that Parliament approved an amount of $195 million for infrastructure development for the Games. We shall, in our next interaction with you, give further details on the utilization of these amounts. Another issue of concern was the doomsaw at the Cape Coast Stadium, the Games Village, and the other centers for the Games. University of Ghana, Legon in Accra, which left the guests stranded while the government has been busy denying that doomsaw is back. Doomsaw was advertising itself at the Games. It is unfortunate that President Akufo-Addo attacked Ghanaians who suggested the need for Ghana to rethink our hosting of the Games due to the collapsed economy and the hardship created by the Akufo-Addo-Bawumia government.
Penino share abato commissioner asye Dr. Sribo Kweku no de atudwa se artificial intelligence na abano fake news anase ensem wo ye abisinia woso no edoso pa enti ese ehwe etuhu anamo ansa na timi abo abewura yabato nhyimu anya sadachi ankwa mabino ebehaye
Ofiana International Peacekeeping Training Center pen for the Jumadi so kwanse so our Garrison Methodist Presbyterian Church as Jumadi one bambo akwa hodo kan bi wom abato komisa da mesum penfo ena wonyina ni dia cha kwampo abefa so abato ebekwa animu yi ebewi asumdwe na Ghana yankwati watimi wakame bia ewa abato no echi Jumadi asia no na kwankyerɛ fo abato ho nsɛm so de ma abato komisa Dr. Sribo Kweku wakasa dia tudwa sɛ hu behia sɛ Ghana fo nyina ntitiro ne mabunu no ye hu nsɛm o social media so a yetu ye buna hwehwɛ mu ye ne ye passe ansa ne betu ho anamo ye to ho anamo anya ne sane ye sine be hu bia ne be di akire anhwɛ be wi akire no na ye kotu asumdwie atoagu ogina so sere Ghana fo nyina sa article 51 na CI 91 obi bia anhwɛ na won kenkan bi na won ti abato hyehyeye ase Dr. Sribo Kweku ne mpinifo dodo na no ekasai
de be asem se abato onye electrical communication ko adwuma mo media fo no osom ye education asorofo no osom ye education police fo obi ye bana ye nche no court for ntwin ba kona so nti ye na de san me ye adwuma na ye no failure ena mama obia ye de fata na da so njusa Ghana nti ye no ba kona anase ku ba kona da so njeba obia ye na adwuma ya na da so njeba
de ye hunu say elections be ba wo abibremu ha na obia yem hyehye no because when you obia ntene ho ase do be wini and the Kofi Annan the afa to ye hunu say ye the stakeholders and Kofua one no hwe abato so security for electoral commission omo eso mo boso Bureau NCC for ye do mo ina about together Ghana police Ghana forces na yakasa ya chire election say ya mantawantawa biama.
This is going to be the first election 2024 in which the candidates of the two major parties are going to come from different religions. And it's important that all of us, particularly religious organizations, us in civil society, us in state institutions that do public education, civil society, that we all ensure that this does not become an issue. We don't have significant religious tension in this country. We don't want this to be the reason that this changes. So we all have to make sure that we go through this election and come out on the other side with the same level of religious tolerance that we have had in the last 60 plus years of our nation being in existence.
Edu election Brennan Suswa
yebe deploy all the security services, military, police, fire, senemidi kankan no. Na ebi a wobekɔ polling station bi a wɔnhu sojani wɔ hɔ. But ye deploy them at a vantage point ya. Omo bochi dom ni ahwɛ sɛ obiara betimi akɔ akɔto naba fɛfɛɛfɛ. Wa wo kɔto aba no ɛyɛ yasudie sɛ ye bɔ ho ban. Electoral Commission a ɔno no yɛ referee nso ɛwɔ sɛ yɛhwɛ sɛ yɛayɛ dɛ yɛabɔ ne ho ban a obiara ɛnko intimidate no nka sɛ yɛ ma mo ɛnyɛ ne ɛwɔ sɛ mo yɛ.
Asaba kwa na omaga na mu yaka ho asɛm aka edi amanfo nya papaapa ene men's gold nsɛm a ye nyina enim amanfo sike kom wo mu afo ma hwere mo nkwa wo ma ayare ene wo mu a amama toba ha no ye nyina enim dada asɛm no akɔkɔtɔ akɔna bra asɛm ene de nsom kwa asetena na otemuafo a wotena adwa mu ayo otemuafo Ernest owusu dapa na ne dayi ena kwadubɔfo a wo asɛm no nyina no wo mu de anototo ne nneɛma hodo nyina kɔ na wieye na enumu ende beto dwa se lawyer Kwame Boafo Ekufu a wono ono number 1 lawyer ni no wono ene ne dey wototo DSP Asnyako a wono ye police squad boni no wototo na no ebisa ne sama do bebre wo bre ato nsafe nipa nwotwe amamba ya dansefo a wom ene yetoto oma no na woni kase mu no ena lawyer Kwame Boafo Ekufu ede to dwa ikire mu se ene wanwa se wo bre a wo de kwadu hu nsam nyina aba no audit report and kasa omode ka ho efa nam one dwumedi ahodo wodie nyina ho no na eno nka ho bi enti no wonte asese DSP Charles Nyakwa ono no ya asem no hwehwe mu no atumi afasa audit report no ama anu ye mu no ana DSP Charles Nyakwa kyerese enye se ebi o wanfa audit report ama no mo pese omode ba wo mu ye nam one ama mo kwan ama mo santumi aka na nam one ka kire omode se soja fo bi ebe fa wo mo computer ene wo service nyina afiri ho de koy enu nti enya de a wo betumi enya sasava ande ama police fo no no motumi akɔfifi mu ayehwehwɛ mu ade afa ho enu nti ama police fo so tumi enya ho kwan ankɔ saa server no mu entumi akɔhwehwɛ mu enu nti ena sa audit report no kwadubɔfo no entumi amfa ama na ɔkawie no na lawyer Kwame Boafo Ekufu kyerɛ sɛ enya nokore obwa nokore bia ne nsɛm a wo ka ne mu na eno no timafo no tie no wo se da bi sɛ de asɛm na akɔkɔ ye nti no wo tu asɛm da akɔhye mebu so me ne da toso edunan sɛ wo momna na asɛm no wo monto ani die so na ne nyina mu no wo ma hye sɛ obi abɔ no nkora awie obi atoto ne nkwa no awie enti me da toso edunan no ene yɛbɛhwɛ asɛm a wo mu ankasa ne hu sɛ de asɛm no ɛbɛkɔ akɔkɔsi afa
ye gyina wo se so ahom mpirenu so abasesia
Muda so ahwe UTV no si akase ebo yeda masese munya abresan twen ye bio afi ye to aso
na emma omuboaboa ma no de emma NDC amahiko no Asante Mantemu afrense ntwofo nhie mu de atodwa akire mu se efri ebre o mampanyi dada yewura John Dramani Mahama bo obinfo na Jane Opoku agimedin so mebo ni chidom no sadia enkrofo ekasa fa ne ho enwunu no eyade bia entweye enkankane Asante Mantemu MPP amahiko no omudwom tenti omunhweye anyesa de efebe yomutan
Omutrese Professor Nana Jane Opoku Agimaya wayini se onye running mate former NDC amanyukuo no ejina ne nimdi awowo eniema watimi aye ede asom my Ghana ene NDC se amanyukuo enu nti enwoyi no na nya bibi fufuro bi asabi emfa kwan mu nti saa nimdi no ohwe anim kwan so de baba abua amanyukuo no ewo bra wo ba beto oba no wo gidie nso se obedi mu nkonim amwaye adwuma ede asom my Ghana enu nso nti no mo kasetia nansan ekwan a Asante Mantem na ni de ma NPP amanyukuo no Ora Bernard Entwibu Asiaku se opani ti se betimi akotena radio so wo ye interview na afa de wo be keka nsam na emu oduro ebini se kane mampani John Dramani Mahama kra no wone Nana Jane Opoku Agimai professor yi etwempena mo firi twempena kra enye ne enu so nti no yi ni so mebo na chidom afa nso kra osadi trudwa se Professor Jane Opoku Agimai ya enkofo bebre nim se mfimfi mantem no ofiri no enu so kra anya no kra maame no omfiri hoda wamso we de yenim guase efere pa entina ema ya maami Gloria Huzi a Asante Mantem wono eno boaboa ema no edema NDC amanyukuo no kachre NPP amanyukuo titinani a wowo Asante Mantem Ora Bernard Entwibu Asiaku se wambra bonte animanim ya no mfa echopa emu oduro pa ema Professor Nana Jane Opoku Agimai ene Ghana manyina na kwan ofa so kaseti a maame ne de wakaseti ya emanyina eni kwan se obia esusoso
Regional Chairman MPP Ashanti Region no akwa keka mfreni masem bi afa de maame Jane Nana Opoku Agimai ho okọ Northern Region wakọ BFM station wo Northern Region ho no kwotena ye ekeka asansem no say maame Jane Nana onya mfantini so onya mfantini pokro ye Ghana ni wontumi so ye sremni eso se ye Ghana ni ana meboa me amigina me kasa me yanwani me 100% votarian eso me beti Ashanti Region ha me ye women organizer wa eti minim reason tell say want to be kwotena baby ka say ye ma me ne nyamfantini all because of say omuma so ba benya dibre wo Ghana ha na she say want to person che say ensem fata embema nkwa na so munya dibre eti we de me ye signal ma me nuanom ma mo abonten no wenya ndisi fo nkwa na nya asem yi ye Ghana ma nyina ye nsori wakane meta ndisi party chi na want to be person che say oba benya dibre na oba ma ne nada na no ko ba sadia na se eya koya se ne party bu man omonya positions no omo ni omo yes sadia na nsa na omonya position na na de me ya wo ho ne se onu wontumi na wo ka se ye maami Jane Nana ene ye papa John Mama e wo mpana atwe mu no onu ye warefo wa ware mamie no ahofefo e so tibi sa fa ne chikofa fi ahwase nega na wo mpokura ya nka na ye maami Jane Nana Opoku Agimai na oba be ka nsem fatade a kire no eti am se me man na wotwe won pie mra na wotwe du na se wontumi ampie ama a me pa chewa ye bet ntisukoko a kire no ye ma mema kwa yesie be kobi ye ma mema kwa yesie be kobi
ye ko upper discof na omahene wo ho eyo brimpon hema de chi otoso edunan wode ato abampanifo nyina anim se ye pe contract ne ma na be ye adwuma ma ye hwe sasema ese ye party ye na party bi ni woni mo adwuma krosan so ye party ni tene de ama no wo se ye se moa amadwuma onipa no be no ya dwompori enti ye hwe contract wo di mu ye de adwuma no ma na wa ye yie amoma na nyaso mfaso
Esemu nyina no bededi wa bra no manyafo kodwo ponkromade na nusi ho no ma no wo apro e wa to Mantemu wa bra woni wo brempon hema de che otoso dunan kasa no na wo chirim se sempunto ho sembetima ko ye ho behia sa ban ene ahanfo eto kese wo chim sempipi aban de wo bom homode papa wo fesi defense project e koso e wo ne mpatamu a ekoyie na so contract oni mu de na wo be ye adwuma no eno enaka
esoso bia na aban ene nananom oman na ye gunum ye nyina ye ka ye hubo ne achichira ene ye yie oya de nyini panya na be anka oba wetimi atra wo so aka se enya hwe wo samo aka so ba hwehwe nkra temu ese wo anka so utu anamo na odo ne kokko se no kra sa pasa de otisa na etia be kra kire se adwuma no betimi aye mana abro so waba project yanka mo
Owura Michael Kofi Ando wono na ehwe eche se commissioner ewo insurance company hyehyeye awodo nim na ne wade atodwa achem se ba insurance eyensi echi ba no a enye sikafo nko ade ekode mo bia entie ne omo ahia dwendwena fa kwan a mbaboa ama obi ade ne ho ahyenhye echi ba mu na so how bi ba yenya ho emoa ade efre aboafo nchen
ne tie ne se NIC aye adwuma ama se ne ebe ya ubia betimi ato insurance say woton ade wo dwuma obetumi ato insurance wo ye carpenter wo ye mason wo ye kuani ubia tumi to insurance ni bi na ya ye ho adwuma chekakra NIC efree sadie ho adwuma be ye 2009 2010 ana ya diabedu sabri na ewose edwuma no ekonanim ewose yetremu enti yene UNDP4 eso yasene ana yahwehwe mu se edwuma ya bedu sabri no yedi frihin yedi bedu ha na yeye no ede na yetimi aye na ohawa ye wowo mu ayesen na ebeden na ohawe enya no nso ano na edwuma no atumi akonanim aka ho enti UNDP4 so ya sene ni yenya nkrofo abroni from say consultant so mbabo yen no monhwehwe edwuma na ya ye num na nhwe kwanye de bekoya nim mo aye edwuma na wiye aye report no tiene se wo etifi mantem se wo atoye se wo fra mantem bebia wo bia se wo krum se wo akurase se wo ye kuani se wo ye hwan ubetumi enya insurance bi atone de aboye ho ban obi ahia bambo esanse de insurance eboye ho ban free san ho de san obi bia ye be bia san wom wudi dwa esan wom wo ye fu a odo fu a esan wom wo ye shenkania esan wom bibia ye bia esan wom.
As we know in current situation where risks of different disasters, conflicts or any other things like COVID-19, for example, they come. There are much more risks for the businesses. So we expect that these gaps to be overcome in Ghana, and legislation to include basically the requirements and the rights maybe for insurance for most of the entrepreneurs. That the current legislation to be upgraded in order to address all the gaps that are there, and that insurance in coming years, maybe not as a first step, but like in future, becomes a right, not some luxury for the people.
Accra Metropolitan Assembly penny oda no eye onunyamfo Elizabeth Saki ene dey wadane school dan a yesi edema school for wo aveno eye fitiase school no ede man penifo so wo munye na nkoda no enkosuade wo
na penifo ni sodi hunu se wosi school den abeboa na mofra ogentete e wo Kankwe South no wo hotima ha wo no onye babi pese ne fata na watumi agentete na se ni sodi hunu ena mankran mantami amrado urumunyanfo Elizabeth Tewia Saki atu ho na mo adwumadi na ma contract se contractor hwe na wonsi school dan yi ne moa na mofra nya babi pantina na unsuade urumunyanfo yekasai
this school no ade a community no ehia na wohwa nanka school dan wo ha na nsuo no a eyire no ebadwire nyinyina eguye nti na eho ehia se yebesi foforo na over 20 years ni bra na akomea edi MP wo ha no samreton na onu shase se o decide ma ye hu nkomo wa ba akọ amedinso aba akọ na ne abedu dakwam new mansua isese ani amato ye nti ya ba ha se ye besi school dan ye ne ahemfo no di hu nkomo wo mo so agi atomu se aha no kra school dan no bubu ye no wo ma no eco school wo alajo ni niama ema cars ofiti ha kwa alajo unim cars mo nka se we ya bofra nti enu nyina eye bibia ha community no ha awufo ha ahemfo no nti wo ma agi atomu se ye mbesi dan no wo ha
ne kwakura mu no hwenu numanyamfo yi yade to contract adwumadie hye ne nsanim se wonhwe hu ne se adwumadie yi obewie ne ntentem so
ni won akasanti ye hwe kwan se at least by September won betumi akle asidan no si ho ye ni community so ahia e de hu komo ma ahimfo no kra ama ye hu kwan se yentumi eye nti enu so na nam na ne ya be clear ha nyina mu hu se ye ni nkofo aba ya ba he ye hand oversight no ama consultant no any contractor no na ye de ahye won se ye pese omoye no temara
afina wo de asase no mpo ama wo mfa so fi mu ofo mpo so obehya ase o so hwe kwanse ba September ne na wo motumi awie nti eso bi de akiri ahwesa nya bia September bi wi ampa na ye begina sasam so na ye de kasebo no esi asida kwama special sinsuno special drink this way kan ho bi na need fufu need abekwan eje we de adanse
I media asida my yayira clothing one pa mata de de share me yayira ese friend no was 0555 242111 0555 242111 about ade aye pamko ade yayira clothing ene be pama show me din de akua eji wa kode emini eja kwabena da mu nyina ase ema momo ne hwe